right, welcome to another Spinato spin here on the 12th of June, 2019. Almost right ready for the longest sunlight day of the year, right? 21st is the most sunlight. Well, we're only a week away from that. But I'll tell you what, it's great to be here, great to talk to you. And I got few quick topics I want to talk to you about tonight. I hope this really helps you because as you look at what goes on in a person's life, more than anything else, they want to be a good communicator, right? And that's really what this comes down to. The foundation and the fundamentals of all this is really more along the lines of overcoming an objection in a sale. But then again, we're always met with all kinds of objections no matter what we try to do. So the best way to do it is communicate. 5 simple things. Odds are listen, acknowledge, explore, respond. And all of those fall together in one quick swoop, if you will, to make something happen for yourself. Notice, most of the time, comes from right from the top, what the odds are. Most of the time, 95% of the time, people are thinking about one thing. And what do you think that is? For 95% of their time, they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about themselves. And when you communicate with them, the better you are at getting inside of what they're thinking, the easier it is for you to make a good connection with them, right? The more you understand what they're thinking about, the more you understand where they're coming from, the easier it is going to be for them to understand where you're coming from. There's an old saying, it works like this: the person that can relate to the most people on their level wins. What do they win? Well, they win trust, they win influence, they win a lot of things because that person feels comfortable with them. Odds are most people are asking themselves 3 things. Do I look good? Do I feel good? And am I going to do good? That's all they care about. And and Zig Ziglar said it great. Most people, if not all the people, are tuned into one radio station, WIFM. What's in it for me? That's their radio station they're turned into, WIFM. Understand that. I'm not talking about people being in a negative sense or anything like that. I'm just trying to get you to understand how to communicate. Now, what the LAER, the layer module, is all about is listen. See, when someone says something to you, you owe them the respect of hearing what they have to say. Some people talk slower than others. Some people talk fast. The most important thing about listening is to make sure they're done talking before you talk. Make sure they got their communication out. Some people like to communicate with people that respond real quick when they talk. You got to be able to judge that. Listen. You got to listen. God gave us 2 eyes, 2 ears, and only 1 mouth. That means we're supposed to listen 4 times as much as we talk. Doesn't that make sense? So the better you are at listening, the easier it is going to be for you to communicate your idea, your product, or your service, right? Whatever it is, your idea's got to get passed on to somebody that wants to listen to you, but first you have to listen to them. Let's take listening one more step. Acknowledging. How do I know that you're really listening? By acknowledging what I'm saying. Repeat back to me when I'm speaking. Say, repeat back to me what I said. So that way the person can hear it again in their own ears and say, yeah, that is what I said. Sometimes they call that parroting. Just repeat back the last 3 words that they said, just to make them understand, yeah, I heard what you said. I heard what you said. And then you prove it by repeating it back to them. And say it in their words. Don't paraphrase, don't do anything. Say it right in their words so they know that you actually heard what they said. Now, the other part of it all is exploring. You got to be willing, like these guys are doing. They're looking down deep. They're trying to find something. There's a saying, good positive self-talk goes, I know how to listen and I do. That is because I have learned to hear not only the words which are being said, but also to listen to the unspoken thoughts which lie behind them. Now, exploring could mean you said these 3 words. Can you explain to me what you meant by those 3 words? Let them tear it apart with you. Pull it apart piece by piece. The more you understand it, it's just like when you see a doctor, right? Where does it hurt? You got to tell them where it hurts. You got to tell them when it started hurting. You got to start telling them, what happens when you move it a certain way. What problems have you had? They're exploring. They're trying to find out exactly what it is that you have. And then the last part, and in basketball, the great coaches taught their kids one thing. They said, never take a shot until you pass the ball 3 or 4 times. Well, never take a shot at responding until you've explored for a while as to what they're really trying to tell you. How can you possibly come up with a response if you didn't really understand what they had to say? Communicating does come to that. Communicating is all about, and I'll use the word just because we do it in sales all the time, overcoming the objection, understanding the person. Kind of like walk a mile in my shoes, right? You can't understand somebody until you walk a mile in their moccasins. Isn't that what the old saying is? Well, you have to walk more than a mile with them sometimes. You have to really understand. And when you respond, you come up with something that covers what their fears or inclinations were. Sometimes people are tense. You can say something to the effect that you seem pretty tense about this. Do you mind sharing with me some of your concerns? The more you can explore and find out where they're coming from, when you come up with your statement and your response, it'll be receptive. It'll land on some ears that want to hear it. The way in which you do that is through the Lear model. Okay? Listen, acknowledge, explore, respond. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'm just about ready to wrap it up here. 95% of the time, what people are thinking about is themselves. And it's not because they're selfish, it's just human nature. Most people will spend most of their day thinking about their situation because they're always asking themselves, do I look good? Do I feel good? Am I going to be able to do good? Can I help somebody? Your job is to help them find what they want, and down the road you'll find out that you can get what you want. Great talking to you. Super to have you here on the Spinato Spin. Have yourself a great night, everybody. Take care now.